one was written in the style of a canon. It's called Renaissance Canzona. And now we're going to move into the Baroque period with a piece by Handel. And this is actually going to feature two violins. This is going to feature two seniors, Anna White and Emily Gunderson. This is called Entrance of the Queen of Sheba. end this portion of the program with a more modern piece. This is called M to the third power. It stands for three M's, meter, mix, and minor. So it changes a lot of meters from 2/4 to 3/4 and changes minor keys. So this is really fun, one called M to the third power. Going to take a couple minutes just to reset her chamber. An Irish reel, and you'll hear the reel passed from part to part, and then there's a beautiful other melody going on at the same time. This one actually also features our reel section. This is called Molly on the Shore.
I mentioned last night, that very beautiful piano that sounds really nice that Abby played for us before, and when our two pianists are going to play for you, that was donated by the Marshall Friends of Music. They wanted to do that as we're moving into this building right here. Our piano tunings sometimes are from there. Morning orchestra, when the kids were in elementary school, it was brought to you by the Marshall Friends of Music, and on and on and on. The middle school jazz band, a lot of these kids applied their trade before they got here, brought to you by the middle school, the Marshall Friends of Music. And like I said, I could go on with that. But they also provide logistical support. I'd like to thank outgoing President Joe Young for getting signs around town. How about a hand for Joe for all that he's done over the years? And I'd like to thank especially Colin Casey, who is here tonight. Her son's on stage right now. She's our uniform mom. She's stepping down, sad at the end of the year, but she's actually going to stay on with the Marshall Friends of Music. We're grateful for that. And she also took pictures for our senior wall for Pops that's coming up. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. So how about a hand for Colleen and all that she does? And how about that? Thank you. Let's all just give a round of applause for the Marshall Friends of Music for all the support that they give our students. Now I bet you're ready for some jazz. This is the Marshall High School Jazz Band. We meet on Monday nights, and I think we'll get going with the music. Change the pace a little bit, an old standard called Getting Sentimental Over You. The kids, as you may know, have something of an old-fashioned streak. They like tunes like this. They really respond to it. So that's been gratifying to work with. And I also did want to mention, because this does go by kind of rapidly, that I'm always proud of the kids, of course, but I'm especially proud this time of the year because you wouldn't know it hearing them tonight, but they've really only been working on this music about a month and a half maybe, because we spend the vast majority of the winter with what I call our festival season, where we get through our December stuff, and then we spend all that time after the December concert really honing one program. We do it at the Evening of Jazz, but then we do it in East Bridgewater for their Evening of Jazz, and then we went to the MAJE festival over in Stoughton at the beginning of March, where they earned a silver medal. So I'm going to hand for these also. By the time they get through that, they've got all these really great skills sort of ingrained in them, and we can just bring it to a new set of music and sort of really whip up stuff really quickly, like this program. And so this is going to feature Tim Moriarty on the trumpet. This is I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. I forgot to mention that also, in a way, I think you heard it quite a bit, featured freshman Aurora Shea on the piano. I'm going to hand for Aurora. Another one for Tim on the trumpet. Believe it or not, we're almost at the end of the night. Makes me kind of sad, but we've got, but we've got a real cool tune for you. The kids also took this Horace Silver tune called the Jody Grind. We'll talk about the solos afterwards, but first, Groove On. I'm so glad you like that. Brayden Davis on the baritone saxophone. And Ryan Casey on the saxophone. You wouldn't know that he picked a saxophone from the flute just this year, just in, I don't know, September or October. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, the Marshfield High School Jazz Band. So I have reached the end of our program. Again, I can't thank you enough for all that you do to make this happen, and for coming out tonight and supporting us. If you Google Marshfield Friends of Music, you will get to their homepage and all the related pages. You can go to the calendar page and see what's going on in music all throughout the district and see what's going on and all that. But I'm going to tell you all as high school people that the Pops concert is coming up. Who's excited for Pops? Who loves my emails? Everybody loves my emails, right? No! Oh! I cry myself to sleep tonight as I say to the kids, you don't love my emails. Well, watch out for my emails even if you don't love them, because then you'll learn about when you can get your Pops tickets and all that good stuff. So keep your eyes peeled. Anyway, you've been a fantastic audience. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Welcome back, MSB. I'm Xavier Chalub, joined with the night 2 of the spring concert. Abby, with such gothic undertones in your piece, Molly on the Shore, how did both you personally and as a section prepare this piece?
We really connected together as an orchestra and just connected with our bowings, with our fingerings and our tones, with our first stands, and shout out Izzy Lamb, our concertmaster, and we just came together and really had everything connect and be the same.
That's awesome. Shout out Izzy Lamb. Jaden, what was your favorite piece from tonight's showing and what made it stand out?
My favorite was House Moving Castle, which is what the chamber orchestra did. I didn't do that, but it's okay. I thought it was amazing. It was definitely nostalgic, and I really liked it. It was fun.
That's awesome. Talia, what other performances are you preparing for in which the Rams can show out for in case they miss this spectacular showing?
Other performances are going to be the Pops concert, Day After Prom, Brown Eyed Girl for jazz band, and for symphonic band. You just have to be there to find out.
Definitely many events to show out for. And Brayden, you had an incredible solo performance tonight. What kind of unique preparation did this take to get you so ready for a moment like this?
You know, just being able to spend time during practice with Mr. Kaminsky, just going over it over and over again, getting the repetition in my head, and then being able to stay after with my private music lesson teacher, Jerry Vemola. Definitely.
Shout out Mr. Vemola. Well, you heard it here first. We got many events for the Rams upcoming, and we'll see you next time.